I've been thinking about friendship a lot recently. Not in a sad way, just in a curious way. I think when we're younger, friendship feels really simple. You become friends with someone because you sit next to them in class, or because you both like the same things. Or maybe you guys just simply clicked. And somehow, without even realizing it, they become part of your everyday life. You start collecting memories together, inside jokes, late night conversations, birthdays, or random photos you'll probably look back on years later. And because of all those little moments, we start believing that friendship is something solid, something stable, something that will always be there. But the older I get, the more I realize that friendship can actually be incredibly fragile. Sometimes people drift apart naturally. Life gets busy, people change, and that's normal. But that's not really what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about the friendships that change because of one moment, one mistake, one misunderstanding, one decision, one conversation. How can years of knowing someone suddenly feel so different? Recently, I watched something that made me think about this even more. It was a movie called The Drama. It wasn't even the movie that kind of stayed with me. It was the people. Watching how different people reacted to the exact same situation made me realize something. People don't just have different personalities. They have completely different ideas of what friendship means. Some people believe that once trust is broken, that's it. Some people believe mistakes are part of being human. Neither response is necessarily wrong, but it made me wonder, how do we decide when someone deserves another chance? Is it based on the mistake itself, their intentions, how long we've known them, whether they apologize, or is it something we just feel? Because if you really think about it, everyone disappoints somebody eventually. Maybe not intentionally, but definitely eventually. We'll forget something important, we'll misunderstand each other, we'll become distant, we'll even react emotionally. Nobody gets through life without making mistakes. So, if mistakes are inevitable, what actually keeps friendships together? I think that's why I found myself thinking so much about one particular character. She wasn't pretending everything was okay. She wasn't saying the mistake didn't matter. She just never stopped seeing the person. And I think that's something I really admire, because I feel like it's becoming harder to do. Maybe it's because we live in a world where everything feels so immediate. If someone just disappoints us, we unfollow them, block them, cut them off, and move on. Sometimes that's absolutely the right thing to do, especially when someone hurt you, or when a relationship becomes unhealthy. I'm not saying we should stay in friendships that make us feel small, but I do wonder if we've become so quick to protect ourselves that we've forgotten how to understand each other. Maybe understanding someone has become harder because life just moves on so fast. Or maybe we've become more afraid of being hurt. Either way, I think curiosity is becoming rare. It's easier to ask, why would they do that, than to ask, I wonder what they were going through. And maybe that's why I keep coming back to this question. How fragile should friendship actually be? Because I don't think friendship is really tested when everything is going so well. It's tested when someone disappoints you, when expectations aren't met, and when things become awkward, or even when forgiveness becomes difficult. That's when you find out what your friendship is actually built on. A few days ago, I was actually talking to a friend. We somehow ended up talking about this exact topic, and he said something that really surprised me. He told me that if one of his friends made a mistake, he'd probably just end the friendship. And honestly, I don't really know how to respond. Not because I thought what he said was wrong, but because it made me realize how differently people define loyalty. Some people believe one mistake changes everything. Other people believe one mistake shouldn't erase years of knowing someone. Neither side is simple. Neither side is black and white. And maybe that's why I find friendship so fascinating, because there really isn't a rule book. Every person draws the line somewhere different. I don't think every friendship should last forever, and I don't think every mistake deserves another chance. Some people genuinely hurt others over and over again. Some friendships become unhealthy, and walking away can be the healthiest thing you could do for yourself. But I also think that we shouldn't judge someone based on one mistake that they did. Sometimes people are just scared. Sometimes they're overwhelmed, and sometimes they're ashamed. Sometimes they genuinely don't know how to deal with what's happening inside of them. And while that doesn't excuse their actions, it might explain them. Maybe empathy isn't about agreeing with someone's decisions. Maybe it's about refusing to let one moment become their entire identity. I don't really have an answer. If anything, this video is just me thinking out loud. Maybe friendship isn't measured by how perfect two people are. Maybe it's measured by what happens after perfection disappears. I would love to know what you guys think. How fragile should friendships be? What made you want to walk away? And what would make you stay?